kept some letters by his bed, dated 1962. He had underlined in red every single "I love you." I went to see him just today. Oh, but I didn't see no tears. All dressed up to go away. First time I'd seen him smile in years. And he stopped loving her today. They placed a ring upon his door, and soon they'll carry We all wondered if she would. It kept running through my mind. This time, he's over her for good. And he stopped loving her today. They placed a ring on his door, and soon they'll carry him away. He stopped loving her today. We love you, George.
So in addition to the folks that are next to you, we are also live streaming this to folks that have been to camps around the country. So we may have folks from New Mexico, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Minnesota, all watching what we are doing this evening as part of our celebration. So for those that may not know, this year we completed 310 camps in the last 20 years. Mary Lee Nunley, who I'll introduce. At my age, when you think about 310 of anything, you get tired. But we did it. Without the help, obviously, we have so many volunteers and so many people that help us make this work. So we really are having a celebration tonight. So even though we started back, I shouldn't say we, Mary Lee and John started back in, obviously, 2004. And 20 years later, we are celebrating that 20 years. Now, we weren't retreat and refresh stroke camp those first few years because it was just a concept. It was just an idea of bringing people, survivors and caregivers, together for a weekend. Mary Lee and her sister had some experience in doing that before, and it's like, well, why can't we do that for local stroke survivors and caregivers? So the first few years, there wasn't even a name of retreat and refresh stroke camp. It was just stroke camp. But in 2017, we created an umbrella organization called United Stroke Alliance. In 2007, we were actually certified as a nonprofit, and from that point on is history of our organization. This evening, you're going to hear about one person's idea that has literally impacted thousands and thousands of people. And you think about how that works. It's like one person, one idea, making such an impact on literally thousands of people. Not just stroke survivors and caregivers, but volunteers, sponsors, people that are not even aware of what we do. All of a sudden they understand how important it is to have retreats and support for stroke survivors, as well as the education programs that we have. So in planning this evening, about 6 months ago, we wanted to raise awareness about stroke. And that's one of our objectives, obviously, as part of our mission at United Stroke Alliance. And as we were starting to put this together, we wanted someone out there that maybe has experienced it that people would identify with. And for some blessing, we were able to get Mary and Randy Travis, who you will be hearing from later this evening. And it's quite a love story. And I think it needs to be shared to everyone tonight. Well, after confirming that we had Mary and Randy, we decided, well, we got to do something else. So we got a local celebrity to enhance our program and be masters of ceremony. So our local celebrity is a native of Peoria, and I think most people know our guest tonight as our master of ceremonies. And would you give a warm welcome to our master of ceremonies, Mr. Lee Hall. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We're going to have to talk a little bit about the definition of celebrity, Larry, but thank you very much. Thank you all. I appreciate it. Well, let's get. I'm in a band now, so I know all about this stuff. There we go. It's a real thrill for me to be here tonight. I haven't been on TV in 7 years, so I keep saying anybody under the age of about 30 is not going to have any clue who I am, and I'm pretty much okay with that. But so I went into sales about 7 years ago, and then about 3 years ago, I went to work for the WMBD radio group in sales. Excuse me, and I've gotten to be really good friends with Greg Batten, one of the morning show hosts. And when Dan DiOrio can't make it, Greg will ask me to come in and fill in, and usually I just sit there. Uh-oh. Are we worldwide? No? Okay. All right. Usually I just sit there and make wisecracks to what Greg talks about. And when he has a guest come in, I usually just sit there and don't say anything and just try to be quiet and stay out of the way. But this little lady came in, and she was very energetic, very excited about what she was talking about. And started talking about her story and what she'd accomplished the last 20 years, and talked about stroke camp and about how they've helped people all across the country. I'm like, that is amazing. And then she mentioned who the special guest was, and I was like, can I be the MC? And I think she must have felt sorry for me, so she agreed to go ahead and do that. But after talking with Mary Lee Moore and finding out more about her story, it's totally inspiring. And you know, tonight you're going to hear the story of a single parent of 2 boys getting remarried at the age of 48 and starting a new life that she was totally unprepared for, that would change completely in just a couple of years. Most early marriages, the dreams at that point in your life are about retiring early, traveling around the country, spending a lot of quality time together. But those dreams changed on September 9th, 2001. And now, as another former broadcaster, Paul Harvey, would say, is the rest of the story. If you're old, you remember that. Please welcome the founder of Retreat and Refresh Stroke Camp, Mary Lee and John Nunley.
This is pathetic. Can you scoot him over a little closer?
I'm not going to give you a kiss. I'll push you over.
He just says you're going to give me a kiss.
Is this good?
That's fine. That's fine. Whew. At 2:42 on a Sunday afternoon, our lives changed forever. With all the health issues that John had endured prior, when I found out he had a stroke, my first reaction was, well, here we go again. But those of you that know anything about brain injury know that's not a little short journey. About the 2-year mark, as a caregiver, there's some struggles trying to figure out how to navigate for the rest of your life as a caregiver. I didn't want anything to happen to him, but I'm like, how could I keep doing this? And that kind of sparked the idea for the first weekend retreat, which was my own support group. They're in Peoria, and there's a few here that were here at the first. If you were at the first camp, raise your hand. All right, look at there. These people, volunteer, whatever. You were at the first, yeah, she was at the, my granddaughter was 7 months old and my other one arrived 1 week later. We were a nervous wreck, she was gonna be born. Anyway, that led to an interest to do it again. So 1 camp became 2, 2 became 4, and it continued. How I got that started, first, I talked with Dr. Wong, who was the medical director of the Illinois Neurological Institute, and I was nervous, and I had a PowerPoint and all this good stuff. And I sat down across a board table from him. Jan Janelle, where are you at? She was there. There's Jan over here. She was voluntold. And I threw out my vision. He said, let's do this. And he helped find the money to do that very first camp. So I'll always be grateful to Dr. David Wong. Well, a few years into the venture, Larry Scher, my good friend Larry Scher, and we had worked together, but several years down the road, and we had lunch, and I was telling him all about camp, and he says, you're really on to something. And so his idea was to take the camp to the people. I was trying to figure out a way to do it at one location and bring everybody, but I had a magazine article published, and I heard from people in 8 states, how do you do this? So he figured out a way to do that. It's all about the survivors and the caregivers in that lifelong journey of recovery. Those early years included meeting a lot of fascinating people. One such person was Sam. Sam was the sweetest man you'd ever want to know. With his stroke, he had lost his language, except for one phrase, BAM. He'd shake your hand, bam, bam, bam. One Sunday during our worship time, he stood up with his heart and his hand and did a whole sermon with nothing but bam. And we all knew what he meant. One year he came and he had a shirt that had a scripture on it from Job, verses 7 through 9. For there is hope if a tree is cut down that it will sprout again. And those new sprouts will not fail. Isn't that what stroke survivors do? They sprout new branches. They work hard. They go back to therapy. They listen to music. They exercise. They appreciate their loved ones. That's how we grow again. We do a lot of things at camp that encourage people to try new things. Sometimes survivors get to do activities they've never done or activities they haven't done since the stroke, like swimming, fishing, some of those kinds of things. In reflecting on these past 20 years, I struggle to take in all that has happened since those Herrick sisters put their heads together. Supporting caregivers and survivors, meeting the sponsors, meeting the volunteers, and all of those precious people is almost more than I can really take in. And it wouldn't be possible without the dedication of all these people. We're a very small staff of 7 people and an army of volunteers who, and I know I can't name you all, but you know who you are. I'm honored beyond words tonight to be sharing the stage in a little while with Randy and Mary Travis, 2 very special people, which you'll find out after a while. I would be amiss if I didn't talk about this man. He has been by my side and dodged more bullets than most people. It's the man who lets me be me. It's the man who did not have children of his own, but when we married, he instantly loved mine as if they were his own. And he embraced being a papa, and I saw a love and a devotion that I had never seen. He's not the man I married. He gets frustrated when he can't find the words. He sleeps more than he wants. And he asks, what day is it, more times than I care to tell about. But through all of this, can you tell them what you say about me?
Say what? If it weren't for you, I'd be dead. What? I don't know what she said.
Okay, when you talk about me to people, what do you say?
I don't know. Tell me. I can't.
Rehearsals don't work with a stroke survivor.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
If it wasn't for me, you, I'd be dead.
Oh, I would have died a long time ago if I didn't have Mary Lee.
But not a day goes by that he doesn't appreciate me. Not a day goes by that he doesn't tell me he loves me. And this is what true unconditional love looks like. I'm who I am as a large part because of my mother. She left this world about 1.5 years ago at almost 105. And I'm ending, my grandchildren know this, with a reading that she had handwritten, taped on her bathroom wall. It's an old reading from Ralph Waldo Emerson. This is my message for each and every one of you, whether you've been touched by stroke or not. Write it on your heart that every day is the best day in the year. He is rich who owns the day. No one owns the day who allows it to be invaded with fret and anxiety. Finish every day and be done with it. You have done what you could. Some blunders and absurdities no doubt have crept in. Forget them as soon as you can. Tomorrow is a new day. Begin it serenely and well. Don't have such a high spirit to be encumbered by your old nonsense. This new day is too dear with its hopes and invitation to waste any moment of yesterday. So I wish for every one of you, not look back, to look forward to each good thing and to each new day. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you. Wait, hold everything. Thank you very much.
Say what? I don't know.
You're going to say thank you to everybody.
Oh, I want to thank you. for everything that you're here and everything. Oh, nah, it won't come out very good.
The end.
I had that problem a lot on TV, I understand. What an amazing love story, huh? That is, yeah. Now, Mary Lee and John didn't have any intention of creating a national company when all this started, but things began to evolve and move in ways that Mary Lee she couldn't have anticipated. After experiencing a couple of stroke camps, it became apparent that stroke survivors were being impacted in many, many different ways, not just in meeting other stroke survivors, but it was changing the motivation and attitude of each participant who came to the camps. One of those stories is from John Kinshu. John's life changed at the age of 28. He had 2 small children and a wonderful wife, and he wanted to know how was he going to maneuver through life, through unplanned events after having a stroke at that age. John is here from St. Louis tonight to tell his story. We're glad to have him. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome John Kinshu.
So much.
Is that good for you right there?
I think so. Can you hear me? Awesome. I want to start off by saying, Lee, I've spoken 100, 110 sometimes. That may be the best introduction I've ever had. So thank you. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. As Lee said, my name is John Kinshu. I have been married over 16 years to Cindy, right there, yeah. Cindy and I have 3 children. Ryan, who is 14. Oh my gosh, 14? Maggie, who is 11, and Anna, who is 6. Actually, Anna wasn't born yet when my stroke happened, proving strongly that people with disabilities can be loving, active parents who follow their dreams. I am not being dramatic by saying my entire life changed in one day. It was September 10th, 2013, a day after your stroke, John, but mine was I was 35, 2013. Ryan was 3 years old, and Maggie was 5 weeks old. So one morning during paternity leave, I suddenly lost my balance. Later, I learned I had a massive cerebellar stroke. The cerebellum is close to the brainstem, so many doctors have said that I almost died. Can you imagine being told that at 35 years old? It was surreal. I could not talk or walk, but fortunately I was able to pray and attend therapy sessions. In that vein, I engaged in therapy for over 5 years. I pursued 4,000 hours of formal therapy sessions and 2,000 hours of home exercises. It is a great pleasure that I share this news with you. In March of 2019, I returned to my former position as an attorney at my law firm, Bryan K. Villate and Paisner. I was unable to work for over 5 years, and they held my job, my office, everything. I accomplished many short-term goals, such as typing, to reach my long-term goal, to be marketable to them. People complain about work all the time. I am just grateful to be able to work. Now, I absolutely love Monday mornings. I never said that pre-stroke. Yeah. Fortunately, I have received dozens of awards since I returned. I was nominated by my peers as one of the best lawyers in America in environmental law. Usually, people with disabilities are marginalized in our society. Not me. My recent experience demonstrates that we, too, can be vital assets to the work environment. It gives us new purposes and meaning. During my thank you. During my recovery, I embraced a new community, that of Stroke Camp. Sorry. It's easier to write this than to say it. Yeah. Initially, while I believed my stroke was terrible, finding this community was actually a blessing. I absolutely love two qualities of the family stroke camp. My family has attended this for over a decade. First, I challenged myself while I'm at camp. I try new activities such as zip lining, archery, or a ropes course. I focus upon what I can do instead of what I can't do. Every time Every time I try something new, everyone at camp treats me with respect and dignity. Second, my entire family is welcome to attend stroke camp. Our children can interact with other people who have had strokes. In fact, now our children practically beg us to take them. It used to be Cindy and me. They pack wigs in the bags. Stroke camp is truly one of the highlights of my year. I appreciate your support and prayers for this outstanding organization. Stroke Camp has enriched many lives, including that of my own family. Thank you, non-least, for doing this. You've changed my life. Thank you.
John Kinshu. Well, as John so eloquently told us, the impact of the stroke goes well beyond the survivor. He mentioned his wife and his kids. It affects the entire family, particularly the caregiver, and that's often a family member. So at Stroke Camp, they emphasize support for both the stroke survivor and the caregiver. And this evening, we are joined by Terry and Larry Bobko from Grayslake, Illinois. They want to share their story. Larry experienced his first stroke in 2006 and then had another one in 2020, and Terry has been his caregiver ever since. Please give a nice welcome to Terry and Larry Bobko.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. Yes. Good evening. I'm delighted to be here to share my experience as a caregiver having attended stroke camp weekends. Larry and I have attended stroke camps in Oracle and Prescott, Arizona, Lake Delavan and Green Lake, Wisconsin, and Rockford, Illinois. We experienced meals prepared by a professional chef, had kosher meals served, and family-style fixings. I recall the settings in each locale being very different, obviously, from hot desert days in the Southwest to crisp mornings in Wisconsin and a rainy springtime in Illinois. Many things were different with the locations and the food, but the one constant to each weekend, the genuine attention and opportunities available to each caregiver from the moment we arrived. Let me walk you through a magical 2.5 days I experienced as a caregiver many times over, regardless of the location or the time of year. Arrival always began around 3 in the afternoon. Time to check in and go over necessary health information with medical personnel, while Larry was escorted away with a warm greeting and a helping hand. People were readily available to help secure our luggage from the car and take it to our assigned rooms. This was just the beginning of the tender, loving care that awaited me. I met up with Larry, who was already welcomed into a large room with other folks. All of us were introduced to the drum circle. A musical therapist offered instruments of our choosing to help us learn new names and become more comfortable in this new setting. A group leader made everyone feel welcomed as we learned about the itinerary for the remainder of the evening and the coming days ahead. When it was time for dinner, all I had to do was make my own plate. Not juggle 2 plates as I usually do, just mine. Larry was well cared for by an eager volunteer who assisted him through every meal. After dinner, we shared time together in a creative, fun team-building exercise. Larry and I were on different teams. It was scary and kind of exciting at the same time, but it was so much fun. As the evening concluded on Friday, we talked about the new people we had met as we left for our room. Even though our bed was made and we were tired, we were so excited to see what the morning would bring. It did not disappoint. Saturday was filled with lots of separate choices for the caregiver and survivors. I chose to attend a breakout session for caregivers only. It was there we were invited to share some of our story, what brought us to the weekend, and how our survivor was doing. It was our time to talk about concerns and successes in our lives. The facilitator reminded us that things we talked about in our sessions were to be kept in confidence. While we walked into that group as strangers, we quickly found our common theme. Each of us had a loved one who experienced a life-changing event as the result of a stroke. Hearing others talk and share, I came away with a new sense of energy and hope. Saturday afternoon included time for me to make more choices. Maybe get a body massage, enjoy the outside to meditate, make a craft, or get a manicure. Little did I expect that time painting a birdhouse would allow me the opportunity to share with others in such a relaxed manner. One of my highlights on Saturday was seeing Larry smiling and engaged with new friends, coloring a page or playing cards. I was comfortable knowing that he was in good hands with the many capable volunteers to meet his needs while I did my own thing. Being a caregiver is a responsibility I take seriously, but at stroke camp, I was given the opportunity to just relax and enjoy. I got to dress up in costumes to go with the year's theme. I got to do karaoke, and I'm not even a good singer. And I got to participate in funny skits. A group picture was taken on Saturday afternoon to capture all our time together, along with photos that were being taken spontaneously and discreetly by a capable photographer. You might have seen her around here tonight. Saturday night was dress-up event, and it always came with a special theme. One of my favorites was the Roaring Twenties. We got to be in costume. What fun. There was music, snacks, and bingo to enjoy. There was lots of laughter and displays of warm affection everywhere on those nights. Larry and I danced at these evening celebrations. It had been many years for us to be holding each other close, looking into each other's arms with that old familiar spark of love. I still remember those dances. Each Sunday morning at camp, no matter where it was, I always woke up saying the same thing. How did the weekend go so fast? After breakfast, we gathered for a time of reflection and another drum circle. I thought the best surprise that day was viewing a slideshow of the time we spent together as campers. But there was still one more surprise to come. Many months later, on a day I would least expect it, a calendar would arrive at our house, filled with pages of familiar faces and joy-filled memories, a gift of Stroke Camp to remember once again. The wonderful moments of stroke camps I have attended as a caregiver still remain in my heart. Stroke Camp has empowered me and challenged me to be a better caregiver. It helps me to remember the small successes in my life, and it helps me in times of challenges. My role as a caregiver is blessed by this Stroke Camp organization and the many wonderful people who are committed to give survivors and caregivers a weekend filled with hope and time for us to focus on our new normal. My life is richer because of the many people I have met through weekends spent at Stroke Camp, along with the incredible families on the same journey that Larry and I share. And before I conclude, I'd like to do the same thing Mary Lee said. Larry, is there anything you'd like to say?
I'd like to say that behind every successful survivor, there's a pushy caregiver, and I'm blessed with the most pushy caregiver that ever was.
Thank you.
A moment of truth right there. We can handle the truth. Very nice, very nice. Of course, Stroke Camp, the victims, the families, but what about the volunteers? They are also very deeply affected. That includes nurses, therapists, and just the compassionate individuals who show up to help out. And volunteers often believe they are giving to the survivors, but in the end, they end up receiving more themselves. Stacy Malajanowski attended her first camp in 2014 in New Jersey. After moving to Pittsburgh and starting a new job at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, she explored the possibility of UPMC sponsoring a camp. A couple of years later, UPMC launched its first camp. Stacy's here all the way from Pittsburgh to share her perspective as a volunteer at Stroke Camp. Please welcome Stacy Malajanowski. That hide okay?
Sure.
Did I get it?
I think so.
Did I get the name right?
Yes, good job. It's a hard name. Thank you, Lee. Like he said, my name is Stacy Malajanowski. I am honored to be invited to join you tonight to speak about what camp means to me and why I'm so passionate about being a volunteer at Retreat and Refresh Stroke Camp. As I think back about what this camp has accomplished over the past 20 years, I feel incredibly grateful to be part of such a compassionate community. I was born and raised in New Jersey, like Lee said, but love brought me to Pittsburgh about a decade ago. I now have an energetic and creative toddler, crazy toddler, and a fetch-loving pup at home. By day, I work as an occupational therapist, primarily supporting stroke survivors and their caregivers in the rehab hospital setting. I chose this profession because I'm driven to help people rediscover independence and thrive after such a life-changing event. Stroke Camp has deepened that purpose in ways that I could have never imagined, extending far beyond the clinical walls. In 2014, my supervisor voluntold me to help out at a 3-day retreat and refresh stroke camp weekend. I admit I wasn't sure what to expect. I was apprehensive, to say the least. While I love meeting new people and seeking new adventures, I had no idea what the weekend would entail. I was quickly blown away by the overwhelming sense of family that the camp leaders had created. From Monica's silliness behind the camera lens, to Larry's goofy dance moves and his skits, the entire crew that first weekend and every weekend since has truly shown commitment and joy to connection that is truly special. At this camp, we witness powerful transformations every day, from small but significant milestones to breakthroughs that renew a sense of hope and confidence. I believe I speak for all of us when I say that camp isn't just a place for recovery. It's a place of resilience, community, and connection. Tonight, I want to share a little bit about what it means to me to be a volunteer and be part of this life-changing work. There's nothing as remarkable as a stroke survivor full of determination and grit to climb a rock wall. Each year, survivors and caregivers, sometimes side by side, face that wall. Whether they make it up only one rock or they make it all the way to the top, the cheering squad from below is always fierce. A few years ago, I was determined to help a stroke, as she calls herself, conqueror, meet her goals to use her left hand again to write, feed herself, and brush her teeth. This past summer, that same stroke conqueror tackled that rock wall for the 4th time. The light that sparkled in her eyes as she climbed filled my soul, both as her friend and also the OT that worked with her during the early stages of her recovery. As a volunteer, I am constantly reminded that these weekends don't just impact the survivors. They leave a lasting imprint on all of us who support them. It's inspiring to see how many different disciplines come together for this cause, from nurses to physical therapists, occupational therapists, speech therapists, social workers, physiatrists, just to name a few. Each brings their own unique skill and perspective, but we're all united by a common purpose. Whether it's watching a couple dance to their wedding song after struggling to balance during PT, or hearing a survivor with aphasia sing a song and find their voice after countless hours of speech therapy, or simply sharing a laugh with the rehab physiatrist who managed their care. Each moment reinforces why we're here, to uplift one another, to honor each victory, and to embrace the journey of recovery with open hearts. For stroke survivors and their caregivers, it's a chance to step away from the grind and daily grind and recovery and rediscover joy and hope and community. And for me, it's a reminder why I fell in love with occupational therapy in the first place, to change lives by the little moments that matter most. As I return from camp each year, I come back with a renewed perspective, inspired to help my patients and their families feel more prepared to re-enter a world that has been completely turned upside down. I want to thank each and every one of you, the incredible volunteers, the incredible coordinators, and each survivor and caregiver that has attended a stroke camp over the years. Your commitment to this community is astounding. Here's to many more years of Retreat and Refresh Stroke Camp, and may we continue to inspire, uplift, and remind one another that recovery is never a solo journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy, for making it all the way from Pittsburgh here tonight. We appreciate you being here. In talking with Mary Lee and Larry over the last month or so, it became very apparent how vital volunteers are to to this organization, whether volunteering at camp or helping at the office, participating at our bingo fundraiser every week, or volunteering at one of the fundraisers. United Stroke Alliance would not exist, could not exist without its volunteers. At this time, if you volunteered at a stroke camp or any other capacity, please stand. We want to recognize you tonight. Please show your appreciation of the time and effort these volunteers have contributed to the success of this great organization. We thank you very, very much. Another vital part of every camp, along with the volunteers, are, of course, the sponsors. Most camp sponsors are primary or comprehensive stroke centers across the country. The common denominator for all these hospitals is the commitment they have towards the support of their stroke patients. They're not only interested in the stroke patient in the hospital, but also interested in the continuum of care. One such hospital is the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center. The impact of being a sponsor is more than just good publicity. Dr. Jennifer Shen has been a vital part of that UPMC sponsorship since 2016. In addition, she's been to every UPMC stroke camp since 2016. Please give a big welcome to Dr. Shen. Pittsburgh showing up tonight. All right.
Well, gosh, I am so truly honored to be here with all of you today. And even though Stacy and I traveled from Pittsburgh this morning, it was a 5 a.m. flight. Traveling to Peoria is actually a little bit like coming home for me. So I grew up in Libertyville, Illinois, so in the outskirts of Chicago. And so I did all of my education through the University of Illinois, and that included undergrad as well as medical school. So I actually did my first year of medical school in Urbana-Champaign, and then 3 years here in Peoria. And then I also stayed for an additional year for my internship year. So it was in Peoria that I met the man who is now my husband. It was in Peoria that we got our cell phone numbers, so I still hearken the 309 area code, right? Yeah. It was in Peoria that he and I got scuba certified, and we've continued to scuba dive through our lives, and now our 11 and 13-year-old just got certified this summer. And it was in Peoria that I first fell in love with the complexities of the human brain and what it could do. And it was here that I discovered the little known field of rehabilitation. So this area of medicine that felt like a natural fit for me. During that rehab rotation, I was introduced to an approach to medicine that wasn't just focused on numbers, blood pressure, blood sugars, cholesterol panels. We know that's important, but rather there's something far bigger than that, and that's the more holistic view, a person's functional ability. And I learned how we as physicians can help maximize a person's function, helping them live better lives regardless of their medical conditions. I feel so incredibly fortunate to have been able to do my education and training within such a respected medical system as OSF. And I have fond memories of working with Dr. David Wong, who is the stroke neurologist here and may have cared for those of you in this room, and who recognized the importance of stroke camp when he, was there right in the beginning. And that brilliance and unwavering dedication to stroke care really left a lasting impression on me. So I then went on to complete my physical medicine and rehab residency at Mayo Clinic, and then I spent the next 16 years at UPMC with the main focus on stroke rehab. So throughout this career, whether it was at OSF, at Mayo, at UPMC, I had the privilege of working within some of the best medical systems and access to world-class neurologists and cutting-edge care. And I saw firsthand how we scrutinized those crucial early moments of care, deciding whether somebody's a candidate for a clot-busting drug, rushing them to the ER, and literally counting the minutes from door to intervention. But there was always something missing, too. And anybody who deals with healthcare knows that there's plenty of dysfunction in healthcare, right? And while there's a lot of attention given to the acute phase of stroke care, that longer-term recovery process, that journey of adjusting to life after stroke, that was often underemphasized. And life is more than just the doctoring, life after a stroke, and it's more than just the therapy. So when Stacy was at UPMC and she introduced me this idea of stroke camp, and her eyes are just shining bright with passion about what she had experienced, I then met Larry, and we all know what a charmer Larry is. And so it became very clear that there was a gap in this care that we could fill. So now, having watched Stroke Camp grow in Pittsburgh year after year since 2016, I can see the way that it's impacting and transforming the way that we approach stroke recovery. One of UPMC's mottos is life-changing medicine, but we can't fulfill that promise by relying just on surgeries, medications, and interventions alone. Stroke Camp represents that vital piece of the puzzle, recognizing that one of our most powerful resources in recovery is each other. So it's about building that community of people who've lived through similar challenges, who can offer one another support, encouragement, and hope. Stroke Camp breathes life back into lives that were broken and shattered. It brings together individuals who often feel so isolated in their struggles and helps them reconnect to purpose, joy, and meaning in their lives. And for me as a physician, it's been an invaluable gift. The practice of medicine can sometimes be a heartbreaking endeavor. The times I couldn't help someone, the times I knew what they needed but I couldn't get it for them, or the times I could just see somebody completely overwhelmed with the struggle, even despite our best effort. I often talk with people about how recovery isn't just the physical, there's a healing of the soul that has to happen too. And Stroke Camp expanded the resources that I can offer my patients, not just in terms of medical care, but in terms of community, support, and that possibility for renewal. It brings people who feel broken, and together, we're made whole. And for that, I'm forever grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shen, for proving a theory that's shared by sportscasters and sports writers here in Peoria, that Peoria is indeed the center of the universe. It all it all comes back to Peoria. I'm telling you, watching a documentary on Derek Jeter. 5 minutes in, there's Joe Girardi, who played baseball at Spalding High School with me. Between the two of us, we've got 4 World Series rings, so that's pretty cool. No, please, hold the applause. I just read a book about Pete Rose. His uncle played in Peoria for the minor league team back in the 3I League back in the 50s. So it's just, yeah, Peoria is definitely the center of the universe. So thank you for upholding that thought. As the number of stroke camps have increased over the years, survivors have talked about education. In 2014, we began our stroke education programs that included Stroke Out Stroke, SOS, Youth Education on Stroke, YES, Prevention, Awareness, Recovery of Stroke, PARS, and Stronger Than a Stroke, STS. Due to the number of programs, United Stroke Alliance was created to accommodate not just Stroke Camp, but those additional programs as well. And here.
Additionally, the students get the chance to meet stroke survivors and hear their inspiring stories and participate in disability simulations. I know there's a few stroke survivors in here that participate in my YES program. Raise your hand. Thank you. I couldn't do it without you. They're amazing. Throughout the years, our schools have welcomed us back year after year to their 5th grade classes, giving us the opportunity to educate thousands and I truly mean thousands of students in local schools, and we have so many inspiring success stories about the program. One of them I'd like to share tonight. I have permission to share an email that Rebecca Hoffman sent to the principal at Wilder Waite grade school in Dunlap, Illinois, where her grandson Parker was part of the YES program when he was in the 5th grade. They had planned to join us tonight, but unfortunately, they were unable to attend at the last minute. So with her permission, I would like to read this email. I wanted to let you know what happened to our family on Saturday. Parker and my husband were in the garage cleaning. I was in the basement. Parker came running into the house calling my name. He finally heard me tell him to open the door to the basement. He yelled, "Grandpa needs you." He fell and can't get up, plus he can't talk. I ran to the garage and my husband couldn't get up, talk, and he was soaking wet. Dr. Bramlett was walking his dog with one of his sons, and I yelled out, asking him for help. He called 911 and stayed with us until the fire department and EMTs took over. Parker said he knew what to do because of some speakers from the Stroke Association that came in May and talked to all the 5th graders. I am reaching out to you to let you know that by having those speakers talk to those 5th graders, it saved one person's life. If it had not been for Parker's quick thinking from what those speakers told him, my husband would not be alive today. If it was a one-time thing that those people came to speak, I hope you continue to have them come back every year. Our family will be forever grateful that Wilder Waite taught an 11-year-old the signs of stroke that saved my husband's life. The United Stroke Alliance is committed to educating our communities about stroke and has extended our educational resources to other communities. So if there's a community out there in Pittsburgh and New Mexico that wants our programs, we will share them, our resources. We have recently developed our PARS, Prevention, Awareness, and Recovery for Stroke program for businesses and organizations. It aims to inform adults about stroke signs because many of them are unaware of all 5 of the stroke symptoms and the urgency of calling 911. We know about it for heart attack, but for some reason stroke does not get that kind of urgency. This program has also been successful in raising awareness among adults, with Oberlander Electric being one of the first businesses that I did the PARS program at, and they provided to their employees and their electrical apprentices. The impact of the program was demonstrated just recently when 2 of their employees recognized the signs of a stroke in a coworker and immediately called 911, ultimately saving the individual's life and potentially life-saving, altering disability. We are thrilled to be entering another year of the YES program with over 800 students already scheduled to receive this life-saving information and continuing to promote our PARS program to provide this education to our adult populations. And I am very, very fortunate that I get to be that voice and get to do that education and get to be part of this program. So thank you.
Thank you, Jan. Since 2014, United Stroke Alliance has been sponsoring major and minor league baseball events called Strikeout Stroke. Larry told me this number a couple of weeks ago, and I was completely blown away by it. With over 21 major league events and 80 minor league special programs, over 3 million people have heard the signs of stroke through SOS. Over 3 million people. Amazing. In addition, a new program, Stronger Than a Stroke, is now in its 3rd year with Anytime Fitness. And now to give you more details on these United Stroke Alliance programs is Doug Pinter.
Lee, sorry I fumbled that handshake there. My bad. Yeah, my name's Doug Pinter, and I was introduced to the United Stroke Alliance by my good friend Kelly Schneider, who is now Kelly Porter. Hey, congrats! She brought me into the office. I got to meet all the wonderful people. I was amazed by Mary Lee and her story, and I was fortunate enough to join the national board back in 2016, where I started to learn about the signs and symptoms of stroke. In my earlier days, I was a professional golfer, and I was given a friend of mine a golf lesson at Weaver Ridge right here in Peoria, Illinois, and I noticed Doc's hand fell off the club. I said, come on, let's grab that club. I know the lesson is I talk slow, this is not going well, but come on, we got like 5 more minutes, and then all of a sudden his speech was slurred, and I thought, dear Lord, please tell me my friend is not having a stroke. Nobody on the driving range, there were about 60 of us, nobody knew the signs and symptoms of stroke except for me. We called 911, and my buddy was administered a clot-busting agent within 7 minutes, and he has little to no extending disabilities to date. If it weren't for knowing the signs and symptoms of stroke, my buddy would have gone home, hopped in the hot tub, had a drink, and would have taken a nap. Very fortunate to know the signs and symptoms of stroke. So long story short, sitting on the national board, all of a sudden the opportunity about 3 years ago came along that they offered me the COO position within the United Stroke Alliance, which I jumped at them. I was so excited to join the team. Part of what I do, I oversee organization and execution of our weekend retreats along with our fabulous staff. I see about 5 or 6 of those. My primary drive is I work with our Strikeout Stroke program. Most of my friends don't know what I'm doing for a living, so don't tell them what I do. This is under wraps. But I have an awesome job. I get to work with Major League Baseball. I get to work with Minor League Baseball. And I get to spread the message on the prevention, awareness, and recovery of stroke. Spreading the message to over 3 million people during our spring training games alone. Largest one, I got to work with the Dodgers, Shohei. And man, that drew a crowd. You want to talk about Japanese reporters, there were thousands of them. We hit a market over 1.5 million in that one baseball game. What a great way to educate the masses. What we do at Strikeout Strokes, for instance, we are able to highlight mobile stroke units that are available in the community that save lives. They go and administer help to those instead of having to transport them back to the hospital. We have opportunities to highlight exoskeletons where stroke survivors, we can put them in this device and it teaches them and how to relearn how to walk. And we have tables in the concourse where we'll down to the mobile stroke unit, we'll down to the mobile stroke unit and teleconferenced in a doctor and teleconferenced in a doctor and several players and coaches. You think the stroke doesn't know who you are, what you do, what you make, it doesn't care. It affects all of us, and it's amazing to hear some of the teammates and the coaches talk. They're always like, you're the stroke guy, I got questions for you. And I'm able to teach these ball clubs signs and symptoms of stroke. New York Yankees, they're on board now, and then John, I didn't forget about your St. Louis Cardinals. I hate them with every ounce in my body. But we did a Strikeout Stroke last year, and they were awesome. Moody down there is really, really cool. So yeah, we're just growing this program. I'm very excited about all of the different opportunities. As Lee said, my wife and I are multi-club owners of Anytime Fitness. And one thing I learned really quickly is that our friends that have experienced stroke, they run through rehab sessions in no time. Those rehab sessions are vital to the improvement and the continuation to getting them back into the workforce and back into society and feeling good and confident and healthy again. Where was I going with this? Sorry. Here I am in Washington, right? Okay, so what we did is I realized once these rehab sessions are exhausted that sometimes there's regression, and people that were passionate about working on their health and seeing progress all of a sudden start staying home, less activity. So I said, we can do something about that. Every Wednesday at both of my facilities, I have all of my personal trainers, there's roughly 22 of them on staff, fully available for stroke survivors and their caregivers for one-to-one individual attention, so that way we can continue to work on everyone's health and wellness. This is a complimentary program. To date, we've had over 100 different stroke survivors in our community either join us in our Peoria location or our Germantown Hills location. And next year at this same time, I think we get to 200, but I need all of your help. If you know a stroke survivor out there or a friend of a friend that's a stroke survivor, send them over to us. We'll take them in. There's no charge. It's a great community. A lot of you in here, participate in that, so thank you. I'm really excited. This year we did an inaugural celebrity golf outing out in Arizona at the Talking Stick Resort. I'm fortunate enough to work with some individuals at Encompass Health, and they sponsor a weekend retreat. And times can be challenging for hospital organizations, and the funds can run dry. And I thought, man, I think we could do a golf outing, raise enough money in one day to pay for a weekend retreat, and that's exactly what we did. I brought in some friends of mine from the NFL and the MLB. Some are still active, some are retired, but they joined us for a day of golf. This is the new Talking Stick Casino Resort. It was amazing. Let me get to my notes. We had Donovan McNabb, Larry Fitzgerald, Hines Ward, James Conner, over 22 professional athletes and over 110 total golfers. We raised nearly $30,000 just in one day. We're already starting, that's awesome. It's really awesome. What's even better is I'm starting to have other parts of the country reach out to us. Right now, we, as in my friends at work, and I are already planning our second annual golf outing, and we're very excited. I've had numerous calls from Topeka, Kansas, to Richmond, Virginia, out to New Mexico, and everywhere in between that has heard about what we were able to accomplish in a day, and they want us to come out and do the same for their community. So we're going to communities to raise money to support survivors and caregivers within the community, and I think that's really, really awesome. So, could we keep flipping through the slides? Oh yeah, there's Donovan McNabb. He could bench press a bus. He's a beast. What do we got on the next one? There's a lot of the players all coming together for a common cause. Some of them have been affected by stroke, others it's never been introduced to their life, but they understand the importance of spreading the education and knowledge on the signs and symptoms of stroke. We're very excited to go back and work with the NFL again. I thought, why stop with strikeout stroke? I really got some momentum going. Can we see that next one? Here we go. This is what I've done in the last year and a half. Not me, but my team. We took strikeout stroke and we are now, where's Greg with my marketing? He's helping me get logos together. There you are, Greg. We need a more consistent brand. In the past year and a half, we've been introduced to NASCAR, NHRA. We put our Be Faster on a drag car. I mean, that's just no-brainer, right? I'm in conversations with the NBA at the Phoenix Suns, the WNBA, the NFL, NHL. I have a conference call next week with MLS. Everybody, once people heard about our programs and who we help, my phone started ringing nonstop at work, and this is what I do. Create more platforms, create more education on the prevention, awareness, and recovery of stroke. And I'm very blessed to have such an awesome job. Sorry, I get emotional sometimes. Every community that we go into, we're just embraced. They want us to come back. And when we go into communities and we raise money in Scottsdale, Arizona, that money stays in Scottsdale, Arizona to help those individuals. It's a wonderful thing. Larry, great party tonight, buddy. I don't know, where is he? Larry, great party. Thanks for putting this together. Way to highlight 20 years. It's a great accomplishment. Brittany Jackson, she came on board. She saves me. She takes notes. She does all the follow-ups, so that way I can hop on the next call and land the next deal. Reagan, there's Reagan. You're a sweetheart. Thank you for all you do. I'll be like, uh-oh, I think I broke our website. And she's like, just move, I'll fix it. She fixes it, and she's always so sweet. And I'm like, gosh, you're really sweet, Reagan. Thank you. Thank you for making me look good. Mary Lee, I appreciate you taking the chance on me and believing in me to grow these programs so we can help more people. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Every day I go to work, we all have challenges, but every day I leave, and I'm always reminded how blessed I am. And I want to thank Randy and Mary Travis for traveling all this way to help share his story. And I really want to thank Mary for not stealing my dog when I brought coffee over this morning. We're having coffee, my dog's running around their hotel room, in their bed, in their bathroom. And she's like, you know what, Randy, I think we're going to get a fifth dog. And he's like, what? You get him out of here. Listen, when I talk about communities, you are one of the communities I'm referring to. I appreciate you coming out and spending money, listening to our programs and what we do. Hopefully you'll go tell 5 people, and this is how we can grow as an organization. Appreciate your time. With that being said, you're still stuck with the slow talking guy. They thought, let's have him auction off a trip to Montana. So that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. One of my friends has a company, and I need to get out here to read it. They're giving us this package to start this evening. It's a trip to Montana. Got that country vibe to it. It's 4-night accommodation in a themed bedroom with authentic ranch feel, private bath. Thank goodness. What if it was a public bath? Whatever. I don't know what they do in Montana. Plush pillow mattresses and amazing comfort. Sign me up for that. Country-style breakfast every day. You get lunch and dinners at local restaurants. I can tell you, I've worked with this organization, and they will exceed all of your expectations. You get an activity per day, so if you want to go whitewater rafting, horseback riding, I don't know, chase buffalo out on a range, you can do all of that. Amenities include outdoor jacuzzi, barbecue pits, private garden, and the ranch host will be your concierge for the time that you're there. So this is 4 nights for 2 people. I'm going to open this up for $3,500. Do I have $3,500? I have $3,500 in the back. Do I have $3,600? I got 36. Do I have 3,700 for the trip to Montana? Do I have 3,700 for the trip to Montana? Are you waving at me, sir, or are you bidding on this? I just like calling people out. I love to see them panic. All right, where am I at here? 35, 36. So we got 36 in the back. Do I have 37? 37, you got 4 nights out on a ranch, chasing buffalo in a private bath. Private bath, that's worth at least a couple $100. Come on, 3,700. This money is going to help fund some of our weekend retreats, provide scholarship money so those that can't afford to come are able to go and experience our weekend retreats. Do I have 3,700? Do I have 3,700? Sir, where would you like it to be? I'll build you one. Let's get you there. 3,700. Do we got 3,700? We're going to think about that. 3,600. I got 3,600 in the back. We're going to wrap this up. And how do you do that? Oh, got 3,700. Thank you, sir. Do I have 3,800? 3,800 for the trip to Montana. Valued at $6,200. That's really nice of my friends. We got 3,700 in the back. Going once, twice. Mr. Gabbert, much appreciated, sir. Thank you. At this time, we're going to break for, Lee, do I turn this back over to you? Okay, we're going to break for intermission, grab some drinks, use the restroom. 10 minutes, we'll be back in here. We will have Mary and Randy Travis up here on stage, and we'll see you back in about 10 minutes. Thank you.
You may think that I'm talking foolish. You've heard that I'm wild and I'm This love that I feel for you always will be. But you're not just time that I'm killing. I'm no longer one of those guys. As sure as I live, this love that I give is gonna be yours until the day that I die. Oh baby, I'm gonna love you forever, forever and ever, amen. As long as old men sit and talk about the weather, as long as old women sit and talk about old men. If you wonder how long I'll be faithful, I'll be happy to tell you again. I'm gonna love you forever and ever, forever and ever, amen. They say time takes its toll on the body, makes the young girl's brown hair turn gray. But honey, I don't care, I ain't in love with your hair. And if it all fell out, well, I'd love you anyway. They say time can play tricks on memory, make people forget things they knew. But it's easy to see, it's happening to me. I've already forgotten every woman but you. Oh darling, I'm gonna love you forever, forever and ever, amen. As long as old men sit and talk about the weather, as long as old women sit and talk about old men. If you wonder how long I'll be faithful, just listen to how this song ends. I'm gonna love you forever and ever, forever and ever, amen. I'm gonna love you forever and ever, forever and ever, forever and ever, forever and ever, amen. On one hand, I count the reasons I could stay with you and hold you close to me all night long. So many lovers' games I'd love to play with you. On that hand, there's no reason why it's wrong. But on the other hand, there's a golden band to remind me of someone who would not understand. On one hand, I could stay and be your loving man, but the reason I must go is on the other hand. In your arms I feel the passions I thought it died when I looked into your eyes. I found myself And when I first kissed your lips, I felt so alive. I've got to hand it to you, girl, you're something else. But on the other hand, there's a golden band to remind me of someone who would not understand. On one hand, I could stay and be your loving man, but the reason I must go is on the other hand. Yeah, the reason I must go is on the other hand. Last night I dug your picture out from our old dresser drawer. I set it on the table and I talked to it till 4. I read some more love letters right up till the break of dawn. Yeah, I've been sitting alone, digging up bones. Then I went through the jewelry and I found our wedding rings. I put mine on my finger and I gave yours a fling. Across this lonely bedroom of our recent broken home, yeah, tonight I'm sitting alone, digging up bones. I'm digging up bones, I'm digging up bones, exhuming things that's better left alone. I'm resurrecting memories of a love that's dead and gone. Yeah, tonight I'm sitting alone, digging up bones. And I went through the closet and I found some things in there, like that pretty negligee that I bought you to wear. And I recall how good you looked each time you had it on. Yeah, tonight I'm sitting alone, digging up bones. I'm digging up bones, I'm digging up bones, exhuming things that's better left alone. I'm resurrecting memories of a love that's dead and gone. Yeah, tonight I'm sitting alone, digging up bones. I'm resurrecting memories of a love that's dead and gone. Yeah, tonight I'm sitting alone, digging up bones. I'm digging up bones, exhuming things that's better left alone. I'm resurrecting memories of a love that's dead and gone. Yeah, tonight I'm sitting alone, digging up bones. I'm digging up bones, exhuming things that's better left alone. I'm resurrecting memories of a love that's dead and gone. Yeah, tonight I'm sitting alone.
Things started in just a minute or two. Thank you. it out, I assume, so. And I gotta make sure she's around here somewhere. Huh?
Back at home, in bed she's crying.
Yep, that'll work. Okay.
For her love for me is dying, but she'll pray I make it safely through the night. Well,
In 2021, the first recipient of the Mary Lee and John Nunley Service Award was made. And of course, being named in their honor, they were the first ones to receive it. In 2022, the award went to Dave and Kathy Murbach from the state of Oregon. And last year, in 2023, Georgia Morris, who's one of our longtime supporters, hi Georgia, was awarded this particular award for being an outstanding volunteer and spending a lot of time to help us. This year we received 5 nominations from around the country. Frankie Janich from Phoenix, Earl and Carol Lee from Washington, and Sherry Roberts from Creve Coeur, and Brenda Kelsey from Topeka, Kansas. And as you noticed, I only mentioned 4 of the 5. So I would like to invite Monica Vesswheeler up here to receive this award. Come on, Monica. Come on. Why don't you give it to her? For those of you who may not know, Monica has probably been to more stroke camps than anybody, any volunteers, any staff. She has spent more time behind the windshield than anybody, and she does a great job in putting together pictures that epitomize what we do. Congratulations, Monica. Sorry, this is going to be a love fest for a minute here, so.
I have to be nice to you, too.
Yeah, well, okay, all right. Do you want to say a word? Come on. One word. Just one word.
Hi. This means the world.
You mean the world.
Well, this woman changes so many lives. She changes the complete trajectory of my life by allowing me to come to one camp. And here I've been almost 140 later, and I still can't figure it out why. But it's not for this. Seeing so many faces that I've seen and photographed through the years, and putting together the slideshow tonight reminded me of who is not with us here in person, but is here with us in spirit. Thank you for giving me the gift of a lifetime. Thank you.
Don't break it. Don't drop it.
Well, Mr. Travis doesn't know this, but the folks here know. You guys have hopefully once or twice saw me on TV doing sports here for WEEK TV. So, but before I was a TV guy, my first job in broadcasting was in radio at WXCL AM 1350 back in the early 80s. And one of the young up-and-coming guys is here on this stage tonight. So I've been a huge fan of him and his music for an awfully long time. It's one of the great thrills of my life to introduce him here tonight. Geez, the numbers are just unbelievable. 25 million records, 2016 inductee into the Country Music Hall of Fame. He's been a member of the Grand Ole Opry since 1986. Yeah. Seven Grammy Awards, 11 Academy of Country Music Awards, 10 American Music Awards, Is this enough, Randy? Do you need me to tell them any more? My goodness. 8 Dove Awards from the Gospel Music Association. So that's near and dear to my heart too, and 5 Country Music Association Awards. 3 of his performances were CMA Song of the Year. On the Other Hand, Forever and Ever Amen, and 3 Wooden Crosses. Yeah, so some of my favorites are along with those, Deeper Than the Holler, Digging Up Bones, Too Gone for Too Long, and He Walked on Water. Some awesome, awesome ones. 23 number 1 singles, 31 top 10 hits, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, celebrated on Nashville's Music City Walk of Fame. Since his near fatal stroke in 2013, Randy and his wife Mary, they've just been great advocates for the cause, sharing their story and creating awareness the world over. It's my great thrill to introduce to you tonight our special guests, Mary and Randy Travis.
We didn't even do anything and we got a standing ovation.
We did what?
We didn't even do anything and we got a standing ovation. Oh. See that?
They were tired of sitting.
Yeah, that's right. I just can't thank you enough for agreeing to come to silly old Peoria, Illinois. And last night we had dinner, and you think you played at the Civic Center many years ago here in Peoria? Yeah. So.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of a little memory that we had last night when we were having dinner. I hope Peoria's been welcoming to you. I know our audience is excited to those that have a chance to meet you after this little chat that we're going to have. I just have some questions, and we may take some questions from the audience if time allows, so if you've got something specific. But my focus tonight, I would like to focus on the recovery and the going forward in life kind of side of things. I just think that's really important for our audience today. One of the things that we see happens is your whole perspective in life changes. So since the stroke, what life perspectives or perspectives have changed in your life that maybe have made a shift since your experience?
Well, with the stroke, of course, it comes unexpectedly. In Randy's case, it came because it was secondary to viral cardiomyopathy, so it certainly wasn't expected. But as far as a perspective on life, it's the moment in time that you do put life in perspective, because you quit making plans.
Yeah.
I was just telling you last night, I have a friend that's been a friend since 5th grade, so that's 54 years ago I mean, we're 65, so 54 years ago we became friends, and still to this day she'll call me and she'll say, what are we going to plan for Thanksgiving? What do you want us to bring for dinner? I said, Susan, it's July. And I said, call me Wednesday before Thursday Thanksgiving and we'll talk about it. So as far as your perspective, you quit making plans because God has all that planned out anyway, long before we ever get here. So he just laughs and he says, yeah, you go ahead and make your plans. And I quit taking it so seriously and thinking that my agenda and Randy's agenda, because the day that we left our home to go to the emergency room because Randy couldn't breathe well, we didn't go home for 5.5 months. We never stepped foot back in our home. And that day we were packing the bus to go on his 2-week Canada tour up through the Northeast, up through the Midwest and up into Canada. And I thought, well, those are places that we may never get to go again. Didn't matter. All I wanted was for him to survive. So the perspective changed greatly. I just want him to live. And God, please give him back any way, shape, or form. And I was so thankful for that because he did. And here we are 11 and a half years later, getting to visit with y'all. So perspective is vastly different than it was 11 and a half years ago.
One of the things that a lot of what I'm sharing with my questions has to do with all the people I've met at the camps, so many survivors and caregivers. And one of the things they talk about is the shift in friendships and the shift in your social life and your social circle. Tell us a little bit about, I know you told us last night you still like to travel and you still go a lot, but how has that, and he doesn't really perform in the way he used to anymore, but how has that shifted? Tell us a little bit about how that shifted.
Well, you know as well as anybody, Mary Lee, how that changes a life. Friendships, well, you hear all your life, some are silver, some are gold.
Yeah.
But when you have an event in your life, some people, at first I think that I was disappointed in people because the people that you thought would be around are not around. And the people that you never thought would be there for you are there for you. So then you get a little disappointed, a little bitter, and then you go, wait a minute. Some people just don't know how to respond to a life event like that, to a stroke. And if they knew Randy Travis before, and he could sing them a song, or he could carry on a conversation, or tell them a joke, and now they have to approach Randy Travis and he can't talk to them. And you have to be the one that sings him a song or tells him a joke or talk to him. Then they really don't know how. So it's not their fault. They don't know any more about a stroke than I knew when it happened. So you get to the point where you go, okay, I have to be more understanding on my part. So circles changed a lot. There are some that I was very disappointed in that Randy had spent a lot of time with, even in churches, because he sang, gospel for many years. And you would think, okay, well, that pastor will give us a call or call and check on Randy. But maybe they don't know either. So it changed a lot. It was an adjustment along with all of the other adjustments that you're going through in life, just day to day, diet, functions, everything was different. And then to have to go through that difference, it was tough. I think that was one of the tougher things. And one of the things now I look back on that I had the hardest time getting through. Randy made it so easy on me because his attitude was golden. He was, to think of somebody that was here and in a moment's time, well, we were wondering if he was going to survive. I mean, the stroke, when they went in for the surgery because of his brain swell, they said he's got 1 to 2% chance of survival. And he's on life support, so we have to take him off of that so his heart has to take over, and if that doesn't happen, and then there's 7 more things that have to happen, and if those don't happen, and so you're going, it's just a blur. And, you know, they say that the eyes are the window to the soul. And I have learned through stroke that Windex is pretty good because they're like the windshield wipers to the eyes because they tear over so much and things become clearer as you cleanse and as you get through this. And I was numb, I was speechless, I didn't know where to go, and then you find that the people that you think are going to be there for you aren't. So it's lonesome.
It's a journey.
You're in the hospital for months and months and months, and you lean really, really hard on the good Lord.
You sure do.
And there's so many nights that he and I had long conversations, and he was my best friend, and he has been ever since then. And I know that Randy was talking to him because I know he's a very faithful person. And I asked him several times since then, I said, honey, I said, when you were there and you couldn't talk to us because of the aphasia that, you know, it happened when he flatlined. And I know I'm taking this way off course, so y'all forgive me for that.
No,
I'm telling you the story now, so y'all listen.
We're listening.
But when he flatlined and they got him back after 3.5 minutes, they didn't realize at that time that he probably threw the clot because he was in a coma state. And so 3 days later, they bring him out of the coma, and they figured out that the right side wasn't functioning. And after that, he never spoke again. So the great part about it is I remembered before they went in to place the 5-point impella, that never happened because he flatlined. The last thing he said to me was, honey, I love you. And I said, I love you too. So those were the last words that we got to speak to each other that were audible. So I'm happy about that. But I also asked him, I said, so when you were in your coma and when you were laying in the hospital bed and they had taken half of your skull off to relieve, I said, did you pray? Did you talk to the good Lord? And he said, a lot. And that was the first time he said a lot. So, you know, that's just a very special word to us. So it's, yeah, life changed dramatically. The friendships changed. Social, I would have to say that for the first 2.5, 3 years, because we went to therapy every single day for 5 hours a day. And so,
a lot, he said. It's a
there's
lot.
the word. There it is. What is it? What is it?
A lot.
And so there wasn't a lot of social life. And
Yes, there is at the rehab center. You got a social life with your OT and your PT.
Oh, yeah, you get to know them very, very well.
That's what our social life was for 2 years.
So you know that social life, right?
I got it. Gotcha.
They just didn't serve us any wine there. There was a problem.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was different, and you really didn't know from day to day what the next day was going to look like. So we did get through those first 3 years, and finally I said, honey, because he loved to travel. I mean, that's what he was used to doing. That's what he did for 30-some years before the stroke, was get on his bus and travel from place to place and all over the world. But not the bus. I mean, you'd have to get on a plane to do all over the world. But anyway.
An occasional plane.
An occasional plane to go overseas, yeah. But anyway, it was time to get in the car and see what a road trip looked like. And we made our first trip to Nashville. And they told me when we left the hospital at Baylor, Dallas, they said, you know that this is an undertaking that may be a little too big for you. I said, no, I don't think so. I think we're going to be just fine. And I loaded him in the car and off we went. We went home. And they said, but you're going to have to be ready because he's going to be he'll be in and out of the hospital the rest of his life, or he'll be bedridden. It's okay. Well, I also knew that God didn't read medical reports. So we haven't been back to the hospital, and we haven't been bedridden. So after 3 years, after 3 years, we said, okay, we're going to get in the car, and we were going to go to Nashville. So we did that. We loaded up our 2 dogs, all our luggage, and we went to Nashville, and we got to Memphis, Tennessee, and where it said 40, he goes, Nashville. I said, oh, God, it's going to be so good. Well, they told us that short-term memory was not going to be there. I'm not sure how they think they know all these things. I mean, I believe in the doctors, and I know that they know what they know, but they don't know what they don't know. So he said Nashville. I said, okay, that's good. And the first day I thought, well, I'll just take him to where he used to live, or where I thought he used to live years and years ago. I didn't know where it was exactly. I knew what town it was. He directed me straight to it, through the dirt road, down by a creek, and the whole 9 yards. And he said, here. I was like, okay, this is great. The short-term memory's there. Then the next day we went to where they did the front cover of the Storms of Life, his first album. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that. That was in 1985, Storms of Life. And I thought, how appropriate is that, now that we've been through some big storms in life? And we went, it was 2.5 hours northeast of Nashville, Tennessee, in a little town called Friendslick. Really? And we were down this little country road, and we made a bend, and he said, here. And I was like, and I looked, and there was this pile of rubble, and it was the old Storms of Life country store, if you remember that album cover, and it had fallen, so it was just a pile of wood. He goes, that's it. So I have a picture of him in front of it, after the stroke, and that was the Storms of Life. Yeah, life changed, social change, travel changed, and now we don't stay home much. We are on the road as much as the good Lord lets us be.
Good for you. Good for you. One of the things that we incorporate into our camps is we have a music therapist who comes to every camp. Works with people who have aphasia to see if they can sing a little song that they remember from childhood or whatever. They do the drum circle, and so we kind of include some rhythm in the heart of the weekend. I've read your book, so I know the answer to this. I think I know the answer to this. What part of music following his stroke helped with his growth and his healing process? Because music is so incredibly healing. So what part of music helped you in that recovery?
Was music big?
Yeah.
It was important to us. Obviously, music was important to us. And I'm going to hit on something that's very dear to my heart, and that's the fact that we went through 3 different therapy or rehab centers, and well-known ones. None of them had music therapy.
Boo! Oh.
So you go figure, okay, how can you not have music therapy when there is so much research, there's so much history. I mean, they know that people with all kinds of anything that has to do with the mind or depression or anything else, music's good for anybody, even if you're just sick.
It's healing. It's healing.
It's just healing. So you go through these rehab centers and they don't have music therapy, and you're going, have I just lost my mind? And then when he was released from the heart hospital in Plano, they said, where would you like for him to go for rehab? And I wanted to keep him in Texas, but I said, I think we need to go back to Nashville because that's where his band is, that's where his life has been, that's where his friends are, that's where the music is, that's where will be the most healing. So off we go to Nashville, we take a care flight, and we get there, and we're at Stallworth at Vanderbilt, and fully prepared for when the music part of the rehab is, and they said, we don't have music. I said, you're in Nashville and you're in rehab and you don't have music. So there was one of the nurses that happened to be a music student at Vanderbilt. And he said, "Don't worry, Mr. Travis, I'll come in after hours and I'll play my guitar for you and we'll sing." So that's how we got through Stallworth. Then he ended up back in the MICU there for 2 months, and that stopped. Then we came back to Dallas at Baylor, at the Baylor Institute of Rehab, and no music. And after we got out of there, we went back, when we got home Thanksgiving, we went to Select Rehab, and no music there either. The great part about it was there was people that worked at each one of these rehabs that knew music, and so they would come in and work with him. One of them at Baylor, she was keyboard, and so she worked with Randy and worked with him a little in guitar. Then when we got to Select, the lady that was head of marketing, she was a music student at North Texas State, and so she came out, at University of North Texas now, but she came on her lunch hour, brought her organ, or her keyboard, and she's actually the one that, her name was Tracy, she's very dear. She's actually the one that taught him Amazing Grace. And so we found the people that knew music in those rehab centers, but the centers, none of them had music therapy. Music therapy is so important, and it was critical to Randy. When we would go home, I would put music on, and at first he didn't want to listen to music. And I think that's part of just the adjustment of your new life.
The journey, yeah.
And that's okay. Mm-hmm. And it did take him a while, and he certainly didn't want to hear Randy Travis.
Is it okay now?
So it's okay now.
Okay. A lot.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot.
Now he gets an overdose of it because I play it all the time. But now he would listen to Merle and George Jones and some of the people that he loved first. But it took a while even before he'd listen to them. He didn't want to hear music, and I think once you kind of set your mind to this is the way it's going to be, then you're okay with it. Mm-hmm. And then we started listening to some Randy, and then people would come that he knew. When we were in the hospital initially, within the first week at Baylor Heart, after the stroke, after the brain surgery, he had his helmet on and 35 IVs. I mean, it was just a mess, but his whole band from Nashville came in just to say hi to him. And a couple of days later, Oak Ridge Boys came in to say hi to him. And John Anderson came by. And then Josh Turner came. And we had Randy's guitar there in the room. And Josh picked it up. And he said, "Mary, you just go with Jennifer and have lunch." Because I hadn't left the hospital since we'd gotten there. And so his wife took me to lunch. And we were gone for an hour and a half. When we got back, Josh was still playing. So Randy had an hour and a half concert.
There we go.
By Josh Turner. And I said, well, that's not all bad, is it? So yeah, music's it's so important. It's so critical. And even when you can't speak, and Randy has aphasia, but even if he can't, in the car when we're singing, when the music's playing, he mouths all of the words. And John, you probably do the same thing, don't you? You just sing because that's the memory part. That's a different side of the brain.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we look on this as, I feel like a very ordinary person, small town girl. You're a superstar. But
we're still ordinary.
I know that after last night. But what obstacles do you still face? What day-to-day obstacles do you still, I don't like to use the word struggle, but what do you face day-to-day that feel a little bit like obstacles? And then we're going to have the other side, which is what you look forward to.
Ooh.
I think you said I could ask anything.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, I did. And yeah, you are. Anyway, y'all bail me out here, okay? The obstacles, I don't think that they're that much different than what everybody else goes through. I
don't think so either.
Where are we going to eat? What are we going to do? Because I think the best therapy that we ever found after we got through with all of the therapies And boy, there are a lot of them you never knew about. But I think the best therapy was living life. You just go on with life and you try to do it as normally as possible.
One day at a time.
One day at a time. And I think that's what we all really do. Mm-hmm. It's just that we think we're such great planners before we have a stroke. And we're really not. I mean, things can change. We learn flexibility. The little things don't really matter. But we have the same issues really that anybody else does. You still have bills to pay, a lot of them, probably a lot more of them.
Yeah.
But it's the same. I think we're just normal people too. Mm-hmm. I think one of the struggles when we meet people, and I tell you what, it's the most heartwarming thing for me as his wife to have people tell their stories about what his song has done for them, what it's meant to them, what it reminds them of, whether they got married to Forever and Ever Amen, whether their grandpa was the one that walked on water. There's just so many stories. There was one story of this big giant of a man, he said, after a concert, and he had struggles with his daughter marrying a guy that he didn't like, and she got pregnant, and he was just not going to speak to her, and all this other stuff. Well, he sang a song that mattered a lot to him. And he came up to him, and he was in tears. And Randy said, he's about 3 times my size, and he was in tears, and he said, after the concert tonight, I'm going to go home, and I'm going to call my daughter, and I'm going to, if you know his gospel songs, Raise Him Up. And it was all about, Jesus and God and raising him up, but it was based on really people and how they don't have to be our own to love them and to raise them up and to be a dad. And so, you hear stories like that all the time, and it's great. I think one of the struggles that we have too is that people that meet Randy, they think that because he's had a stroke, he can't hear.
John and I have some stories about that.
And they'll come up to him and then they start mouthing words like, "Are you okay?" And Randy's like, "Yeah, I'm fine."
John agrees.
Yeah. And they're like, so people have to understand that just because they've had a stroke doesn't mean they don't comprehend everything. Randy's so detailed now, it makes me sick. It's like if I forget something at the store, he'll let me know. If I forget to let the dogs out at the right time, he'll let me know. If I forget something, when you lose one sense, I think there are other ones that get more acute. And
how about that?
It's amazing to me because he understands, he comprehends everything, but the people's, I guess, misunderstanding of stroke, again, because you've had a stroke, you don't comprehend, you don't understand, you can't hear.
And, that was one of my questions was, what do you wish society knew about how to react to someone that's had a stroke? Those of us that have lived it, and many people here have lived with it or live with it currently. And there is a discomfort in, especially, I think the aphasia makes a little bit of a difference because the communication, you have that interruption of communication. But I think you've kind of pretty much answered that next question, which is, we wish you would just talk to that individual, and Randy does what John does. When John doesn't understand a question or he can't retrieve the words, merrily, and I take care of it. And I know at dinner last night we asked Randy a lot of questions, and he would answer as best he could, and then he would point to you, but you didn't interrupt and you didn't talk over him or for him. You talked beside him, and I really admired that. So I don't have any other burning questions. we're getting close to the time we wanted to sort of conclude so we can have some time for you to meet some of our people. Does anyone have a burning question? John has I'm not surprised. John has a burning question. Holler it out, John.
Can you hear me? One question I have, I'm very curious. I had a stroke, so many people did, but the public eye wasn't on us as we recovered. How's it different when
Okay.
cameras, media, so-called friends want to know how you're doing, Randy? Because we're left alone for the most part.
Yeah.
We're left
Yeah.
alone, but you can't be as a person. How does that take a toll on your recovery?
Are you speaking of the media coverage and the
fame?
That was something. Hospital, friends and family, our kids would come in, or friend, the ones that came, but they would come in and they'd say, well, you can't go outside because there's media trucks for blocks. Because in Dallas, every media outlet was there. When we went home from the hospital, all along our little road, and we live way out in the country, you have to go toward town to hunt, but it is so far out in the country, and I thought, how did these people find us? But they found us, and the little road was covered in media people. When we were in the hospital, we were on the 3rd floor when we were at Baylor Heart, and we opened the windows one morning thinking, oh, we need sunshine, you need the light of day. And there was a camera on a boom looking in the window. And I'm going, really? And so, of course, I tell the hospital director, could we see if maybe they could put their camera in another window? Because surely there's some other interesting people here. But it was something to get used to when you're going through something so traumatic and so life-changing. We were used to it as far as who he is as a celebrity and a singer, actor, and things like that. But that's all happy occasions. This is not so happy. It's not like I need the camera in the face, because I don't feel like answering a lot of questions right now, because I don't know the answers right now. And nor, I still to this day don't know all the answers. We're not supposed to know the answers. But those people think that you have all the answers all the time, 24 hours a day. So that was a little tough for me. And at that point, Randy wasn't aware all that was going on. But then going home and having them there lining the road, we were happy to get to go home, and it was nice of them to all be there to welcome us home, if that's what they were there for. Then you find out it's National Enquirer, and it's not all friendly. But anyway, it's okay. It's okay. We're all right with that. And Randy's okay with that. We've lived life, we've made mistakes, and Randy was the first one to ever, own his mistakes. So it was okay. They were doing their job, and we were going to try to do our job, and that was to heal and to make a difference. And Randy's done that before and after.
Thank you so much. This has been a delight. We have one more little surprise, another auction. Doug, do you want to take care of our guitar auction? Here's the story. Randy had said he would sign a guitar, and so at dinner last night we were talking about it, and Mary said, why don't you auction the guitar first, and whoever wins the guitar in the auction can have a photo shoot with Randy while he signs the guitar. So since last night, that's happened for tonight.
And I'm going to get a dog too because we haven't left town.
You are not stealing my dog.
I love the name Rory, and I love those kind of dogs. And we haven't left town, and we have somewhere he can run around in Texas. Can we have a dog?
Backstory, Doug took him coffee and his dog this morning for a visit, and they fell in love with our office dog, Rory.
Yeah, for sure. Rory loves
I'll let you know when we're out of the city limits and he's safe.
Fair enough. All right. Oh.
No, it's yours.
It's your turn.
Okay.
You want a microphone?
Sure, that way I don't have to yell. Well, we left, and Rory actually told me, those people were so lovely, can I stay? And I said, go on, come on, we got to go back to the office. I'm trying to make him our mascot. So if all of you follow us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Mary Lee's got a great following on TikTok. That's amazing. But yeah, you'll get to see him. And thanks for being so nice and coming out. Please, Mary and Randy, one more time. Come on.
Thank y'all so much.
Randy, I left off in my speech, your smile warms a room. Seriously, you got a beautiful smile and a beautiful wife. All right, well, we have a guitar. We'll figure that out, don't worry. That's meant to be there. Randy is going to autograph this. The winning bidder will be able to come on up, get pictures and whatever you want to do. Play a song, we don't care. So let's open this up at, what do you say, $1,000? We got $1,000? Got 1,000 over there. Do I have 1,100? 1,100? Got 1,100 up front. 1,200. I got 1,200. 13. Do I have 1,300? 1,300 over here. Let's go 1,500. Do I have 1,500? I got 1,500. Let's go 1,700. I got 1,700 in the back. $2,000. $2,000. I got $2,000 in the middle. Let's go 2,200. 2,200. I got 2,200. We're going 2,500 for autographed guitar. Pictures with Randy. 2,500. I got 2,200. Got 2,200. Mary Lee is now going to play us a song while I continue. Yes, Mary Lee, we're going to do it. Randy, Mary, sing along. Hit it. Let's go. We got 2,200. I don't even know where at. Okay, I got 2,200. I got 2,500. 2,500 over in the corner. Do I have 2,750? 2,750. I got 2,750. Do I have 3,000? I have 3,000 in the middle. Do I have 3,200? 3,200 for the guitar. Mary Lee, what is the name of the song that you're playing for us right now? Randy, do you know? A lot? Wait, come on. Come on. We got what? 3,000? 3,200. Do we have 3,200? 3,200 I got. Yeah, sing it. 3,500. Do I have 3,500? I'm sorry, I'm an idiot, honey. I don't know. 3,200. I got 3,200 over in the corner. Do I have 3,500?
Load us into that.
Let's go 3,300. Ah, there we go. I love outbidding somebody. 3,400. I got 34. Tell me 35's out there. Anyone got 35? I got 35. 3,600. Okay, so that's what I got to do. I just got to break it down by hundreds. That's making sense. 3,700. 3,700. Do I have 3,700? We got 3,600 over here to the right. Stop bidding against yourself, ma'am. You're already in the lead. What the hell? You want it for 3,700? 3,700. God love you. 3,800. Do I have 3,800? I got 3,800. Do I have 39? I got 38 over in the corner, and he has not bidding against himself yet, people, but give me time. 3,900, sir? 3,900. This is amazing. We're in 3,900. Do I have 4,000 over here? Yes. 4,100. Do I have 4,100? Do I have 41? I got 4. I got 4,100. This is going to get exciting once I start counting down people. 4,100, 4,200. Yeah, I got 42, 43. I got 4,500 over in the corner. She's got $5,000, sir. Huh? Good Lord, Mary Lee, I can't wait till Monday when you play this song again at our staff meeting. I got how much? $5,000 to somebody out there. Do I have 5,100? 5,100? I have 5,000. I have 5,000. 5,000 going once. Twice. Congratulations and thank you very much. Come on up. Get up here. Come on. Come on, all of you. Come on. Come on. Not all of you. All of you. Come on. Holy smokes, again, the communities we go into and you guys embrace us, we can't thank you enough. Let's find out who these people are. Can I get your name and where you're from?
My name's Jessica. I'm from Eureka. I'm a 5-year stroke survivor.
I'm Rachel. I'm her sister. This is my husband, Rich.
Hey, oh, Rich, I saw you earlier. Hey, congratulations. Let's come on over. This is Mary, our friend Mary. You know Randy? Do you guys know Randy? That's Randy right there. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, let's go ahead and gather around. Sir in the back, you want to fire up some of Randy's music for us?
Okay.
Or what do we got here?
Higher education.
Yeah, do this while he's signing.
Two of them were searching for lost souls. That driver never ever saw the stop sign. And 18-wheelers can't stop on a dime. There are 3 wooden crosses on the right side of the highway. Why there's not 4 of them, heaven only knows. I guess it's not what you take when you leave this world behind you. It's what you leave behind you when you go. That farmer left to harvest a home and 80 acres. The faith and love for growing things in his young son's heart. And that teacher left her wisdom in the minds of lots of children and did her best to give them all a better start. And that preacher whispered, can't you see the promised land? As he lay his bloodstained Bible in that hooker's hand. There are 3 wooden crosses on the right side of the highway. Why there's not 4 of them, heaven only knows. I guess it's not what you take when you leave this world behind you. It's what you leave behind you when you go. That's the story that
What'd you think about tonight?
As he held that bloodstained Bible up for all of us to see, he said, bless the farmer.
I think we'll plan, let's see, I'll be 96 the next 20-year reunion. Maybe we should do something before the next 20 years. You know? So on behalf of all of us, Mary Lee, all of our staff at United Stroke Alliance, all the volunteers, survivors, caregivers, sponsors, thank you for coming this evening and making it a great evening for everybody. Thank you. Obviously, a special thank you to Mary and Randy Travis. Thank you again. Also, Lee Hall. Lee Hall, thank you. Outstanding. Appreciate it. There's just two things I would like to do to sort of wrap up this evening. One, in order to help us continue the next 20 years, we need all the help that we can get. Obviously, we do programs and sponsorships, but your donation would help us a lot. And if you would go to our website, United Stroke Alliance, there's a little button that says donate. Anything that you can do to help, and what you've seen tonight from a survivor, a caregiver, Jan and Stacy and everybody that's participated tonight, I hope you see what we've been able to do in the last 20 years. And with your help, we can obviously do much, much more. So if you so inclined to do so, we would sincerely appreciate your donation. So, and the final thing, you've seen Be Faster, though that's an acronym for the signs of stroke. So everybody leaving here tonight, if you don't know what Be Faster means, please learn it before you go, because whether you're a 5th grade student or you're an adult, it may come in handy to save a person's life. And all it is being able to recognize the signs of stroke and getting someone help immediately. It does make a difference. And with your help, we can make a difference in this community on how we help and support people that have had strokes. And for those that may not have had stroke, but maybe we can help them recover faster because they got to the hospital quicker because they know the signs of stroke. So please, thank you. It has been an honor and a privilege to be here in front of you, and please have a safe trip home, and thank you.
Hello. Yeah, here we go.
Is that one word? I have one other thing to say, and that is that there are 8 billion people in the world. There's 86 billion brain cells, and you have, let's see, what is it, 86,400 seconds in a day. So what are you going to do to make a difference? And with that many brain cells and that many people, what possibly could go wrong when there's a stroke, right? So let's all go out there and figure out how to make a difference every single second. And with that, and thank y'all so much here for what you're doing to make a difference. People just don't understand what stroke is, what it does, how it affects families and individuals, careers, lives, everything. There's just so many different parts that you don't understand until you're affected by it. And with that, I just want a good amen.
God bless y'all. Thank you for coming tonight.
If you are VIP, please stick around. We're going to do the meet and greet right here. For everybody else, if you won silent auction items or the live auction item, if you want to see the ladies at the front table, they'll be able to square up with you. We'll start over here. So VIP individuals, please come on over to the side of the stage and we'll be right with you. Everybody else, safe travels. Thanks for coming in, your support.